Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, listeners from wherever you're listening in from. Welcome to Uganda Diaspora EU Broadcasting Service. We are live on YouTube, Uganda Diaspora Broadcasting Service, Facebook, JB Mwange, and Olujilido channels. We welcome you to the third episode of our human rights violation series. Today is the 12th of May 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, this program is meant to create dialogue with the EU, in particular the different institutions, that is the EU Council, the EU Commission, and the EU Parliament. But above all, we want to create dialogue with the citizens of the EU, because these are the people these are the taxpayers whose money is used to fund the different programs. So we really want to articulate these issues to them so they know what is happening in Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, the human rights situation in Uganda is just deteriorating. According to the recent reports, in particular the Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, the US State Department country report, in particular the 2023 report, they report an upsurge in abductions and enforced disappearances. Not just that, unlawful detentions abound. And as I speak, many people have been abducted. So the purpose of this discussion today is to highlight the issue of abductions. In particular, we want to focus on our comrade, Faustine Masaba, who was abducted 3 weeks ago while on holiday in Uganda. But this case is not just about Masaba. We have Mumbia, who has also been abducted. Mumbia is a full soldier. But also, ladies and gentlemen, lest we forget, we have the abducted 18, whose story has been told on this channel, and we continue to propagate for their release or for their production. But this is even just the tip of the iceberg. The people are being abducted to date, according to our database, which we've gathered, is close to 3,000 Ugandans. And these are reported cases. There are many others. There are many other cases that we do not know about. So it is a very serious matter. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce I would like our panelists to introduce themselves. Over to you, comrades. Let's start with Robert Gitunzi. Please, over to you, Robert. Please introduce yourself. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe, for the wonderful introduction. The names are Robert Kitsunzi. I'm based out of Stockholm, Sweden. I'm a Muganda and a Ugandan by that. And I'm leading and coordinating activities of an NUP in Europe. Good morning, good afternoon to all our viewers. Thanks.
Thank you for that introduction. Let's get over to Comrade Hafuzi Mugisha. Please, Comrade, introduce yourself. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, good evening to comrades out there on Olujuliro, on JB Mwonge, and on our channel. I'm by names of Mugisha Hafizu, as I've been introduced by Comrade Joe. And I'm apparently the vice chairman, vicing Comrade Chitunzi in coordinating the issues of the National Unity Platform in Europe. I'm very happy and delighted to be here today to discuss issues of freedom for our comrades Masaba, Faustine, and all other comrades back home. I thank you. Back to you, Comrade Joe.
Thank you, Comrade, for that introduction. Let me introduce our third panelist, who is running late for different reasons, none other than Comrade Alex Waiswa, who is also a deputy spokesman for the National Unity platform. He'll be joining us shortly. But, as we wait, we are beginning with our first question. There has been an upsurge in human rights violations, in particular abductions, enforced disappearances, torture, and killings. However, today the focus is on abductions, in particular the recent abduction of Comrade Faustine Masaba. Those of you who might know, Comrade Faustine Masaba has been around from the time of the inception of our revolution. He has done a great work, but we really want to, I think, get to know Comrade Masaba a little more. So who is Comrade Masaba? Comrade Robert Kitunzi, please, may you take that question and tell us who really Comrade Faustine Masaba is.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if I'm going to do him justice, but he's of an interesting character. I would say he's a true epitome of a patriot, a political activist, a gentleman who hails from Bali, the Bugishu land. He has his country at heart. You could call him a blogger, a political blogger, an analyst, an educator, a very passionate person to the cause of seeing change for our country. So, yeah, I don't know whether I've done him justice, but we should, as Ugandans and friends of Ugandans, stand for him. Why? He's done a lot. He's been there for everyone. Tweeting. He has a Twitter warrior group. He's always on the case whether it concerns injustice of anyone in Uganda. So, comrades, that is your gentleman. We need to see that justice served. He was abducted for whatever reasons. We hear that he's being accused of burning a market, which is pretty appalling. For someone who's been working in the Middle East for the time he's been there to come to Uganda to accuse him of burning a market is ridiculous. So it's really preposterous and very, very, very unprofessional and very disturbing. So, comrades, those in the struggle and those who want justice to be served, stand with Masaba, whether on Twitter, whether on our upcoming demonstrations. Speaking of the upcoming demonstrations, next Friday on the 17th, during lunch hours in Europe, in Stockholm, in Geneva, in Copenhagen, in Munich, in Paris, we want to have a good, resounding demonstration calling for justice to be served to Masaba. Masaba went to Uganda as any normal citizens, and it was picked up. Yeah. So that's not the way you treat your citizens, General Museveni. We want for you to unconditionally release Faustine Masaba. Thanks.
Thank you very much, and that pretty much sums up who Masaba is. He's really the postcard activist who's done a lot of work, and of course he's a recognizable face. And Robert, some people might argue that Masaba, knowing that he was high profile, and actually people are saying, why did he go home? Is there any justification in that remark? What do you say? What do you think?
Well, it's actually very laughable for someone to come up with that kind of statement. I think it is disturbing. I mean, who is Masaba? Masaba, just because he's a in opposition and is trying to advocate for change or justice, does not rid him of his liberty of movement. Okay? So you can't be a hostage in your own country. So it's inconceivable. Someone will say, "Oh, why did he go back to Uganda? Yet he knows the impunity there." No. So I think it is really good that he went there. Yeah, and this pretty much sends a message to the development partners that this is the gentleman you're dealing with. This is a person who can really just pick up anyone just because he's has a different ideological mindset. So I think it is very ridiculous for someone saying that I shouldn't go to Uganda because General Museveni is going to pick me at the airport. He's going to to kill my family. You name it, whatever impunity there is, which we're used to right now. But we're not going to stop. So anyone who's asking why he went, he's a Ugandan and he deserves to go for his holiday, not to be charged for burning down a market, which probably is never even seen. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Comrade Robert. You actually answered that question. And I really think we need to bring this to the attention of the development partners. That the Ugandans are citizens, first of all, and they're patriots, and they have a civic duty to defend the constitution, to defend their country. So when they're exercising their rights in articulating issues, be it democratic issues or issues of national importance, they have every right, and no one should be hunted down. And this has become, I think, there is a pattern. You remember, Comrade Mayanja went and he was abducted, and many others. So we're not going to allow this to be a precedent. Ugandans are citizens. Ugandans are nationals who have the freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and they should, as and when they want, go home when they want to go home. So the development partners must bring pressure to bear on the dictator Museveni to stop abducting, to stop intimidating. This is actually, the strategy is to intimidate, to cower us into silence. But I think we remain defiant. We are going to speak out, and we're going to go home as and when we want. Thank you very much for that. Yes, Comrade Alex Waiswa, I welcome you. And just as we were concluding the first part about Comrade Masaba. So we've spoken about abductions that are really that are on the increase, and in particular today we are talking about Masaba. But can you describe a typical scenario of an abduction to give us a sense of violence that is meted on the victims, and what happens in the dungeons, which has our comrade Masaba gone through? We know that he was tortured, we know that he was beaten, and this is not an exception. So what exactly happens there? Who are the perpetrators of this violence? Comrade Waiswa, over to you. Thank you.
I want to thank you for hosting me this afternoon on this very important issue, because it is an issue of human life. It is an issue of human dignity that is being abused by an apparatus that is supposed to be the custodian of keeping human life, but also putting into force the authorities that are supposed to make a good day living for humanity in Uganda. The word itself, abduction, is an illegal statement. To be abducted is to be to abduct. It is to take. It's the unwilling backward methodology of apprehension. You want to arrest because the law speaks about forms of arrest. If you're going to arrest a person who has committed a crime, that person is entitled to an attorney. That person is entitled to communication to his family that he's being arrested. That person is supposed to be even given an opportunity to present himself through what we call legal criminal summons. These can be both by police and the courts of judicature. The arresting person is supposed to present himself and his credentials to the person he's arresting, and if it is a village arrest, from the leadership of the village. Now, Comrade Masaba was picked up close by home. The chairman was never involved. He was not picked up, he was abducted. The wrongful backward apprehension of somebody from his civil liberties by people who don't identify themselves, not as security officers. The only identification they have is guns. We live in a country that has a history of rebels. You don't know whether you have been taken by security or rebels. We have court issues that have been discussed by the militia. You all remember the Chitatas. So abduction is the illegal apprehension in an archaic and backward manner of someone, either by security or this can be done by both security agencies, but also by private individuals, because as I have said, it is total criminality. This act of arresting someone by grabbing is totally out of order. It has been ruled out of our laws of Uganda. And you've had IGP Ochola at one time said that people who come and do such abductions should be stoned by the community, because this is a backward methodology. Now, the reason they abduct and not arrest, they abduct and not arrest because they want to create fear. That's number one. In the person that they are apprehending, they must create that atmosphere such that he's subdued to leave the struggle. It is a blackmailing technique by the dictatorships to subdue and isolate people from the struggle by that torture, because that is the act itself is psychologically torturing. Being that you are meaning your own business and somebody is apprehending you by grabbing, bundling you into a van that is not a security van, and the reason they will bundle you in such a van is because they want to expose you to torture. They want to beat you. They want to maim you. They are looking at disempowering your human dignity in all the forms that they can have, because they believe if they torture now Masaba, he will come back weak, he will come back disenfranchised, and he will stop what he has been doing. The other reason they do that is, first of all, because it is an illegality. The power of the people that has risen voices against the arrest of people because of their belonging to a particular political party or advocating for rights of others is itself criminal even by government. So government is using this as a methodology of running away from that criminality. They do an arrest and they do an abduction, they torture someone, that person is later found in government facilities, later abandoned and taken to court in a kangaroo way, thrown into prison in a kangaroo way. But the type of arrest that the abduction itself, in the act of abduction, gives them room of escapism. I wonder whether I'm being understood. It gives them room of escapism from the criminal act of abduction itself. You can imagine today, we all know that they abducted Kanata Muhammad, who presumably died in their hands. Now, they will use the style of arrest to decoy that it's not them, because they can now no longer bring back that person who has died in their hands, who they abducted. Then they will run away from the fact that they abducted him. You all know the story of Masaba. They abducted him, tortured him. Then when they brought him back and he gave his account, they later turned around the story. So it is a window of escapism from the criminal act that has been, of course, spoken about by numerous Ugandans. The young man, Mubi, who was arrested from Busoga, who is suffering in Nalfenia and all those other places, was abducted on the instructions of the mafia speaker. Now, that excess power, the excess power of our people occupying public office, is also they use those security operatives as mercenaries to foment those powerful leaders like those in the name of the speaker to malign, to subdue dissent, because the reason he was abducted was simply because he did not agree with the theft of Anita Mong and her outreach to the public coffers, her dubious outreach to our public coffers. That person is the colleague we are talking about today. He is being arrested for expressing an opinion which is constitutionally acceptable. But because somebody has excess power and would not want the truth to come out, they would choose a person like him and leave a person like Waisa, who says it every day, to also create juxtaposition and confusion of divide amongst the people. Because if you are the speaker and somebody is blaming you for theft, both for those who are saying it on the floor of parliament, those who are saying it internationally, those who are saying it are representing political institutions, but they choose to go to our juniors to stop them, to stop the revolution from bringing up more young people with even better voices than our voices. That is also the other reason why the abduction. Joe asked me to comment on their action after the abduction. Of course, after they have abducted, which is a criminality in itself, they will have you in isolated detention, unacceptable detention. They will throw you to the court martial, which is not also acceptable, against civil rule. And all those are processes of psychological, you're going through a process of psychological and physical torture and sexual torture, harassment, if you are female or male, either way. So the bias of our people facing state anarchy through abduction is real. You have seen that abductions have gone across to members of parliament, the common people, to religious leaders, to even political party leaders. You saw how the Honorable Joel Senyoni and our right Honorable Secretary General David Lewis were abducted and bundled into a car. You saw how the people's president, His Excellency Robert Chagulanyi, was abducted on tarmac. So it is real, and I want to tell the country that it is, and the world, that people should not think that it is in vain. It is all done to suppress the now visible, imprinted dissent that the regime is facing out of the 40 years of ineptness and no work. So they believe that they can now catch up with that, with running escapism of abducting our people, those who are dissenting loudly, and also trying to isolate the revolution from many people joining into the fall of what we all need to do to have our country liberated.
Thank you very much, Comrade Waiswa. Just briefly, speak to the accountability, speak to the impunity with which these perpetrators, torture, kill, Ugandans, because somebody really, we primarily are addressing or speaking to the EU audience, and they may not really understand the dynamics. Okay, somebody's arrested, but can these people even get justice? If just speak to that accountability, impunity, justice in Uganda. These are very, very serious issues, and we want our EU partners to understand that. People, those who are working with the institutions may understand, but the common citizens in the EU do not understand this. Please give them a picture of what exactly what happens.
But by the description of the arrest being an abduction, fundamentally should speak to the illegality and criminality of the act itself. It is not a day you'd want to narrate. We have people who have lost their private body organs. We have those who have lost their hands. We have those that have not made it back. We have a story of Busulwa, who was abducted from Kabowa, I think. He was a lorry driver of Chitemu Market. He was abducted. He was taken into custody with others. One of his colleagues was murdered. He was forced to drink the blood of that colleague. It later turned out that that colleague was actually also infected with HIV. And today Busulwa is languishing with HIV. His head was cut. You all remember that story. And now, if you want to understand, that can only be done when somebody has been illegally arrested. Somebody has been abducted, and it clears away the liability from those who are doing it to give them a merry day on the person that they have abducted. I have been giving you a description of Mwesigwa, who was burned in the chest. He was all brought to our cameras. You saw all what happened to Maseruka. They have used all rudimentary torturing methods. You had a Muslim cleric who told the country of the issue of waterboarding. He was subjected to waterboarding, that issue of waterboarding, that form of torture. It is one of the most dangerous torture. Many have been subjected to electrification. Many have been subjected to, I'm told that there are also wild reptiles that are in those safe houses, and our people have been forced have been thrown into those reptiles. You can imagine if you're being thrown in a cage where you have over 5, 7, 10 snakes that are meant and trained to torture. That torture can be psychological, it can be physical. We have girls who have been raped and they have given us account. We have colleagues who have been sodomized and they have given us this account. So it is really a nasty occurrence in our country. Anything that even gives you a return of dead people is a dangerous act. So to ask me describe to them what they do to those people by the mere fact that you all have seen this young man who was abducted, cut off his fingers, put nails into his hands. His name is escaping my head, the young man from Kayunga. So the torture has been and is still unequivocal, it is unprecedented. this type of unfair treatment of human beings by the state. We heard of it as we were growing up, but now I can tell the country and the world that it is times 10 on what we had, because people are abducted, we lose them, never to see them again. People are tortured to death with all those rudimentary corporal punishment, subjecting them to unending processes of hard labor, in where they are being detained, being taken to military prisons, lack of a country that has generally lost its trail of the rule of law and now is working to the negativity of a dictatorship. A person affirming to the world that is about to die, you cannot expect much from. Yes. Nice seeing you, Daniel. It's been long. You're growing older.
Thank you. Yeah. Sorry, there was a bit of a glitch there. I apologize for that. Yes, thank you very much for that very, very detailed question. It gives us a sense of what exactly happens in Uganda in terms of, the abductions, the torture that goes on, the gory details you've had. Again, no questions of accountability. Absolute impunity. That is what is expected, and that is what our people are facing. And that is why when we say that the EU partners should disengage from working with Museveni, we mean that is the justification. Comrade Hafi, how are the NUP leaders and supporters responding to these abductions, and what measures are they taking to protect themselves and their communities? Comrade Hafi?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. This is a very crucial question because, first of all, in Buganda, which says Nanyine mufu yakwate wawunya. I'm not a typical Muganda, but I'm a Ugandan and a Muganda by heart and by living. So this, we can speak about it. When you ask about the responses of the NUP leadership, back at home, they have the human rights table whereby all these claims are being, handled. Because recently, with the issue of our comrade Masaba, you saw that the NUP human rights team went immediately when they located him. They went to check on him to see how he is doing. And from that information, that's why we got a tweet from our Secretary General trying to tell us what is going on with Faustine Masaba. This is why we see our legal team with the Shamim, Honorable Shamim Malende, we see our SG and all the legal team swinging into actions whenever there is something that comes. For example, before Comrade Masaba was brought into court, our Secretary General, together with the Home or with the Human Rights and the legal team of the National Unity Platform, swung into to place a habeas corpus. I am not good with law. To ask the courts of Uganda to show us where Masaba is, And when this was put onto table, the regime started to panic. And in panicking, when the habeas corpus had to be heard, a day before it had to be heard, they swung in to bring him to sneak him into court cases. That our human rights table back home is working, and our legal team is also working. Whenever we people, for example, because the supporters and the NUP team back home, they work hand in hand. whenever we make a lot of noise online, and whenever we make our leaders to know that such and such a person is being held incommunicado, we can't get to know where he or she is. Our team swings in, and I urge you back home, if you really have your comrade who has been abducted, don't keep quiet. Run to the headquarters. Go to Kavule. Tell the team there that my person is missing. This and this is going on, so that we can engage the party to swing into action rather than just sitting back home, Because first of all, we have to know that this government, the dictator government, is really in fear of the noise that we make on our platforms, on Rujuliro, on JP Mwonge, on Comrade Chitunzi, on Yujo. Even they fear our Comrade Waiswa, because he's an outspoken person. And they know that a lot of people hear what he says. And when he says something, he has a background of why he is saying it. So the more we engage the party, the headquarter, the more we engage the leadership of the National Unity Platform, and being people without fear, this can help us, to capture these people, to put them into a cocoon whereby they can't run away from our questions. Because think about it, when over 100 or over 500 people swing in to ask one question: free Masaba. Ask yourself, when all the cities in Europe, the cities in the United States of America, they stage protests because of one person, Faustine Masaba. This creates a lot of pressure to the regime back home, and it can make them to do things rightly or wrongly, but basically wrongly, because into intimidation of our call, because of our legal team, and they started charging our comrade with cases without background, because we did give them enough time to arrange their cases the way they want to arrange them. When Comrade Chitunzi announced that we are coming out to ask for the freedom of Masaba, they had to run in and create a case that he burnt shops, he burnt a market without evidence, So when we pressurize them, when the supporters pressurize them through making a lot of noise, through talking about them, through making lives, it creates fear, it creates panic. These people who don't have respect for human rights. It creates fear in their mindset. It creates fear in their actions. And when they act with panic, it creates for us space to question them more on how they are handling issues. But over and over, I would only tell you that the NUP party back home is making what it has to do, taking the legal form of it. And us as the supporters, and us as leaders in diaspora who are not on ground back home, what we can do is to do a lot of noise, is to make the world know that such and such a person is being held without anything that is right or in the right direction. So that is how basically it is. And I yield back to you, Comrade Joe.
Thank you very much, Comrade Mugisha, for that submission. Indeed, I think let me just. Please come in, Comrade Waswa.
I want to thank your comrade for his extremely very good submission. And yes, as a party, it is part of the regime's policy to overwhelm us. They would want to overwhelm us. They would want to have us incapacitated. If you are having your people arrested every minute, if you are having to run for bail, if you are supposed to run to this court, run to the other court, then you are overstretched from actually working out on the real issues. Now you can imagine NUP is the only political party that every day there is a person, known or unknown, that has been abducted by the state in the countryside or even in the cities. So we have a big task, and that is why struggling and fighting this revolution to its finality is the last solution to whatever we are going through, because it is now part of their style to estoppel the revolution by doing those abductions. It's not something that will stop until when we present to the country the good news that finally M7 has fallen. So as a party, we have come to understand it, but we have also taken on the brave mind of moving forward as we fight for ours that have been arrested, not stopping to go forward, because we understood that all this is done to derail us. That is why we want to have the revolution more and more empowered by the people themselves, because once it is a people power centered revolution, then all that is playing cat and mouse. You can't stop the revolution from happening. So as a party, we have a legal team, we have a welfare team, we have a human rights desk, we have a robust group of young men and women who work day and night on investigating, collecting intelligence and data on where our colleagues can be, because also that helps us so much. When you are going to court for habeas corpus, you must habeas corpus is a document that is subjected. It is a subject. It's a document. It is a ruling of court that subjects government to bring a person dead or alive before the courts of law after 48 hours. So to do all that, to file your habeas corpus, to go ahead and engage the people, you must definitely have an intelligence team. We were aware of how he was abducted. It was a lure from his family member, because trust, as you realize, is not something you will find anywhere here. They want to use our family members, they want to use our friends, they want to use our social status as such that they can effect their evil mind. So the party is it is overstretched even financially, because those legal processes need money. Whether you are having people like Shamim Malende, but it's transport facilitation, it's a process. You all know the Uganda we are living in, and the state believes that that is part of their methodology still of having us isolated, because if you are having a party with over 2,000, 3,000 people in cells that are with your responsibility, then it becomes extremely very hard for you to move forward on the core issues. But I thank the leadership, I thank the Ugandans that we have not stopped, we have not withered. As we are fighting for Masaba, we are also saying Museveni should go. We are also looking at the corruption of the speaker, because we have a lot to do. The business of removing Genome 7 after 40 years is just business that you will not finish on the plate. It's real business.
Thank you very much, Comrade Wassa, for that addendum. And indeed, you're right. We're operating in a very difficult environment. All the institutions are under capture. Whether we are talking about the judiciary, whether it's the military, whether it's the police, they're all corrupt, and they're all just driving Museveni's agenda, that is of entrenching the regime and ensuring its survival. So we're operating under very difficult conditions and with very limited resources. So this is what our people in the EU need to know. We're operating under very difficult conditions. So getting justice for our people remains a big problem. Challenges are really enormous, but that is what it is. And again, we're doing what we can to change things. Yes, audience, after this phase, we do I hear echoes? I don't know. Yes, we really, please get your questions ready. We would like to engage you after this phase. After this phase of questions, we want to engage the audience. So feel free to call in and ask your questions. But now we're carrying on. Yes, How do these abductions affect overall political climate and prospects for democratic progress in Uganda? Because clearly things cannot remain the same. Uh, Comrade Robert Kitunzi, if you may, please, what is your take on that? How do all these occurrences affect the political climate and the democratic progress in the country?
Oh, good question. Yeah, a lot of us say that we're not in active politicians, but which, in a sense, is true. But you can't be politically conscious. But I would think, in all honest, if we are to drive and run a smooth government, I think it is important that all institutions work. And for all institutions to work in any civilized society, the democratic um, practice has to be in place, whereby there's rule of law, where there's freedom of speech, where there's a lot of these facets are, which a democratic society revolves around. So I would think that if we're to move forward as a nation, we really need to get to the drawing board to see what brought us where we are. What brought us where we are is because we have erased all manners of um, um, democracy. So I think that's pretty much what I would summarize the kind of a environment and the kind of state we're faced with as a country. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, again, because of the manner in which all these abductions are carried out, very, again, very violent, and they are arbitrary. So we really do not have exact records, and sometimes it's very hard. But the question is, how many individuals have been abducted, and what is their current status? Are there any efforts being made to locate and release them? I know you've partly answered this. And there's a follow-up question. What legal and institutional frameworks exist within Uganda to address human rights violations, and how effective have they been in ensuring accountability and justice? I know you've already touched on some of these issues, but again, over to you, Comrade Alex Waiswa. Thank you.
The question is, what is the legal and institutional framework in running against these illegalities? Of course, we are members of the Rome Statute. We are also subjective to the Global Wild Human Rights Charter, Declaration of Human Rights, the Vienna Declaration of Human Rights. We are members of that. We signed, we appended our signature, and now that is one of the aspects of being a member of the UN and all those other global institutions we are part of. Basically, to monitor human rights, every country by law is required, first of all, to have a human rights body that is mandated by the Constitution to oversee the actions of the state over its citizenry in terms of respect of human rights and decorum. And then we also supposed to have the police and government as the custodian of these people's rights that they lead. However, the unfortunate part in Uganda, the bad news is that there is no rule of law. The rule of law has been usurped by the longevity of the dictatorship. It's all about how many more years you're going to be ruled by General Museveni. It's all about whether you'll accept to be handed over to the son. And that is what gives your human right to live, your human right to a sense of belonging, to belong. If you do not belong in either of that, then you're not a human human being in Uganda, and therefore all your rights will be negated to the affirmation of those that are in power. So the institutions that were supposed to protect have now, if you look at the institution like the Human Rights Commission in Uganda, is now a cadre institution. Those who have worked well with Museveni, those who have failed elections, are the people that they will send to the commission, to the commissioners. So politicians now, they are appreciated for their changing stance from government. If you are a politician and you no longer you are in the opposition and you're no longer throwing it at them, they can throw you there. We have people they have thrown there. If you are a member of parliament, we all know Smell Nsubuga. You remember Smell Nsubuga? Smell Nsubuga today is a commissioner of the Human Rights Commission in Uganda. Just imagine if that's the modus of appointment, and all these people are subject to the appointing authority, who is the dictator himself. So the reporting system is also, the institutional reporting system by the commission is also archaic. You had her at a certain point saying that she could not even her herself ascertain her security because members on her board were armed. So it is a big challenge to talk about institutions in Uganda, talk about rule of law. All these have been usurped by the dictatorship, and for any Ugandan to think that their systems, in fact, the abductions and illegal arrests are being fought against by the people, by the power of the people, by these programs that we are holding, by the continued robust speaking up against this ugly, archaic, and backward behavior by the state. So for one to think that there are systems in Uganda, no, there are no systems. It's just a wake up by the citizenry that can fight this backward. But well, in fact, the torture, the abduction in Uganda, I can tell you without contradiction that they are now purely institutionalized by General Museveni's security apparatus.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That other question, I don't know whether I have answered it. I answered the one of rule of law and institutionalization. I would beg your pardon on the other one.
Yeah, the other one was we're just wondering. I know this is a bit hard, but how many individuals have been abducted, and what is their current status? So, are there any efforts being made to locate and release them? I know this is a bit hard, given the manner in which yes.
We have about 50 known persons abducted, and these, as you remember, the 33. These are names that are overlapping over a certain period of time that we are aware of. But as you remember, as we were talking about 33, we did not know about Masaba, that he will be abducted. So, as I said, it is also difficult to have a definitive number because it is happening across the country. It is happening in Busoga, it is happening in Western, in Imbarara, it is happening in Gulu. It is an institutional modus operandi by the security operatives. So to give you a blanket number, I would be lying, but I can tell you we have over 2,000 young men and women languishing in prisons. Our effort for freeing of political prisoners, our effort of going to court despite having less hope because of the influence by the state. Just imagine the way Masaba was smuggled into court. So smuggling prisoners into court is also unheard of. It is unconstitutional. So it is important that as Ugandans realize that this act of abducting people is ongoing. We cannot even give you, because as I speak now, somebody may be being abducted yesterday, being abducted now as I speak now, and I'm just going to get the details later after this show. So we have those are imprinted over 33. You know, the 33, the team that is being persecuted in the general court martial. We have those that have been put elsewhere. We have those that are going to the that were going to Katwe, those who are abducted after 6th May. We have a group of those that are led with my very astute young brother, Umar Magala. So the abductions won't stop. But I can tell you that many young men and women are languishing in the dungeons of this morally decayed government.
Thank you very much, comrade. I know that Dr. Nico has been compiling a victims database, and according to the figures, the numbers are up to, it is 2,804.
Sure.
However, this includes illegal arrests, and here there is a problem of definition of political prisoners and abductions, but that is the number, which we can say. I mean, this is well documented. So the numbers are high.
I can tell you, if you went to Chitalia prison and you interrogated 75% of the people in that prison, you'll realize that all those are political prisoners. There is a time when they said that Chico had been built for NUP. So it is very unfortunate, and across all the country. And these political prisoners should also not be limited to those that have been arrested during the time of the National Unity Platform. They are prisoners who are still in cells from way back, from the 80s when these people took over power. There are those that are still in cells that have been an orchestration by this very regime. So it is something we must fight. It is a vice that we must stop, but we can only stop it by ending the existence of this rebel group.
Thank you very much, comrade. So what we can, our takeaway from that is justice remains very elusive for many people, and we need to fight to really change this. Yes, our final question goes to Comrade Hafi. What support mechanisms are needed for victims and survivors of human rights abuses in Uganda? Of course, including access to legal assistance, medical care, and psychosocial support. Over to you, Comrade Mugi, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I thank you very much, Joe, for that spark question delivered to me about the support that we can give to the victims. First of all, we have different types of support. We have what we may call moral support. We have what we call financial support. We have the legal support. And we also, basically, I will tackle those three because they are the major ones that we can deliver. First of all, with the moral support goes with the psychological issue effect. They work hand in hand because moral is more of behavior. So basically, when someone is abducted, or when someone is held incommunicado, or when someone is held in a way that is not really in the line of law, his family back home is left in a format whereby this person, his family is tortured psychologically, and this person also, by since he's been taken to a place where he doesn't know, and he doesn't know what is happening back home, this person is also tortured psychologically and morally. So we as the supporters and the team back home of the National Unity Platform, we should support them morally in a way of visiting their families and telling them that everything will be fine. The party is with you. we the people as the leaders on the village level, we shouldn't leave the thing to only the national level that Waiswa, Honorable Waiswa or Honorable Joel is the one to go down to the families. No. NUP has leaders on local councils, village councils. So it should be a collective force, whereby also these chairmen back home should carry this mantle to visit the family. Because if you're a mayor of where Masaba comes from, it mandates you to go to his family and talk to them on behalf of the party and ask them, how can we help you? To calm them down. By creating this, it creates a moral uplift to our comrade to know that I have support from my party. Everything will be all right. Out to support. For example, Comrade Masaba and the 33 and the over 200, they have families. Comrade Olivia is a mother of two. She was taking care of some children, you know. Comrade Faustine was taking care of some people. So we should put it in mind that when they are not in a picture, there's some people who are facing financial constraints. We as people in the diaspora, what we can do is collect some financial support if we can make it. And when we do this, we can deliver this to the families or to the political party. And when we deliver this to the political party back home, they can, offer this support to the families. This small financial support can help take back children to school, buy books. We in the diaspora, we can, because the least we can are making noise about what is happening. So we can focus more on more of the financial support. How can we collect some small financial support, send it back to to our headquarters, and our headquarters has a list and knows how to offer this support to different families of the abducted members. And another issue I will talk about, it would be the legal support, which I would appreciate my political party back home, because without any cost, because court cost is a little bit more expensive in Uganda. It is not like here in Europe or in the USA that every person is liable to have legal support. Even if they tell you in Uganda that you have a right to a lawyer will ask some money from your family. When they come to court, he will take them back and tell them twagalayo obukadde bwe buti, twagala bwe buti, to process your case. But with the support of the National Unity Platform, we haven't had anything like the Council of National Unity Platform is asking money from the families. This is a tick to our political party, that it is offering this legal support to people who come and register their cases to the headquarters, who come to the human rights desk and say, our person is missing. And this helps to coordinate and help our political party to handle these cases with due diligence. This legal support, it creates more of hope. It can be linked more to the moral support. That if someone knows that there is a group of lawyers, liable lawyers that I can trust, that are taking, on they are taking on my case, this person will be back in the cell. We have a team which is pursuing freedom. And more so when as I conclude this part that you have given me, for example, me and Comrade Chitunzi and you, Joe, who sit on the executive, the European chapter of the National Unity Platform, we have a long way to do some things in a way of creating meetings with these offices in our different countries, the foreign affairs, the homeland security, the homeland whatever. We have to create meetings with these people and give them lists of these people and tell them that our people are being tortured, our people are being held in a way that doesn't respect the human rights and the rule of law. By meeting these people, at least by giving them the name, they can link these lists back to their embassies and their consulates back home. And their consulates may take up from there, because as Comrade Weiss was saying, we are signatory to different charters of human rights. It means that these countries, if they are dealing directly with the government of Uganda, they have the right to question the human rights cases of Uganda, leave alone the government sending away the Human Rights Commission office from the country because the Human Rights Watch was watching every step they were doing. But it remains that they have the authority to question the government of Uganda in regards to the human rights, in regards to the abduction, in regards to the abuse of the rule of law. I yield back to you, Comrade Joe.
Thank you very much for your answer, comrade. Yes, indeed, even we in the diaspora, even people in Uganda, it is important that we show solidarity with our brothers, those who are incarcerated. Many of them were breadwinners, so their families are suffering. So even in the case of Masaba, and these are some of the things that the government must be held to account, Masaba. So what are the economic costs of abducting somebody, who has been a breadwinner? What psychological social psychological problems do you cause to this family, to this community? So it's not, people support not just their families, they support their extended families, they support their communities. And these are problems, these are dislocations that which come at a cost. Yeah. So, even the families that disintegrate because somebody has been incarcerated in prison. So all these are problems that have been caused, but we need to show solidarity. Ladies and gentlemen, as we draw to a close, the next phase now, we really want to engage the audience, and let me repeat my number. If you don't have it, please, my number is +46793 102278. So call in and ask questions if you have any. But before we come to that, let me ask Comrade Robert Kitunzi to come in and speak a little bit more about the actions that are lined up within across the EU that are going to be launched in support of our comrade, of our abducted comrades, but in particular in support of our comrade Faustine Masaba. We are going to demand for comrade Faustine Masaba. We're going to demand for comrade Hussein Mumia. We're going to demand for all the abducted victims. We are going to demand for justice for all political prisoners. They must be freed. And we are launching actions across Europe. We're talking about Sweden. We're talking about Denmark. We're talking about Germany. We're talking about France. We're talking about Switzerland. And we're talking about Austria. So this is really to make a statement that we are not going to allow the dictator to intimidate us. We're not going to allow the dictator to violate our rights. People have, our rights are guaranteed by the Constitution. Our rights to assemble, our rights to speak, our rights to speak are enshrined in the Constitution. And Museveni is not going to stop us. We are going to stop him. Comrade Kitunzi, please give us your submission there. Then we invite in the public to call
thanks,
in.
Joe.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Yes, we have a few things lined up, and I think I'll need to reiterate something which my comrade Mugisha mentioned. This, what we're going to roll out, is the moral card. Yeah, we need to really show not only Masaba, but right now he seems to be at the forefront. And we need to make him proud. This gentleman has been very, very instrumental in driving most of our programs, whether by NOOP or social-oriented programs for the people in Uganda. So we really need to make a big statement. Yeah, we are not going to allow General Museveni to make this a walk in the park, that every now and then he will pick up someone like a chicken and then think it is business as usual. So what we've decided is to do a pan-European demonstration, courtesy for just the gentleman Masaba Faustine. So those on the ground, you can do your beat, especially the people in Bali or the people from the mountains. But us here in Europe, we're going to be on the street. We're going to be on the Twitter. So yeah, what have we done? I think everyone is going to be getting their permission by Monday. We're going to be printing our posters for those countries where there's no any ban or to do any postering around the city. We're going to be, Masaba and the poster we're releasing is going to roll out from Monday until Friday in all major cities. We're going to be printing out flyers. This is going to be general about the 18 and all other abducted people and the incarcerated prisoners. These we're going to be giving them out to the populace, normal people. You just go on the subway and then you just give out these flyers to people who are coming out on the train, on the bus. We need to create a buzz. So that's what one thing we're going to be doing now. On the day, we're going to be obviously going to be vocal. We're going to create an atmosphere where we're going to be talking about the injustices, the abductions. But again, Masaba is going to be the front figure there. We need to talk about, create a Q&A. Someone is going to be asking questions. What is going on? Why are you here? Who is this guy? And we'll be taking the people who are going to be visiting our demonstration stations, and we want to make it a little bit colorful. We're going to create a kind of a walk-in museum, whereby we're going to have all these gentlemen who have been abducted with their figures. You walk into the tent. We're going to be trying to erect some tents whereby people can come in and see different deformation of bodies of people who have been abducted during or before the election until now. So it's going to be a different kind of setup we're trying to roll out. So I can't wait to be on stage, or I can't wait until Friday to really get this message out to the citizenry in Europe. So whoever is in the diaspora, whether you're a noob guy, whether you're not in the politics, try to show solidarity to this gentleman. He needs your support, and he needs to be released unconditionally. You don't tell me someone leaves his foreign work and comes to Uganda, and then you abduct him and accuse him to be burning down a market. That is ridiculous. That's something we're going to be fighting. So he's released unconditionally. So guys, that's all we're going to be rolling out. Be tuned in on our Twitter. We're going to be posting stuff on our Facebook page, on our Twitter page, and that's pretty much what I can say. We're rolling out, and I can't wait until we get to business. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Comrade, for that submission. And audience, we welcome your questions. I can read some comments as we wait for questions. Kasozi Liz writes, hashtag Ugandans. The earlier we realize we are captives in our country, the better. Free Masaba. Ugandans rise up to get rid of Museveni's 40 years dictatorial regime. All that impunity will come to pass. Museveni will be held accountable and answerable to all atrocities against humanity. People power, our power. And then one reads, where was the number of comments? Thank you, first of all, for attending. Kunga, this is Lule Kawesa saying Kunga, Uganda, Kunga, people power, our power. Dictator Museveni, stop kidnapping, torturing, and killing Ugandans. Maybe as we wait for calls, and as we wrap up, I think currently we cannot help but also address the ongoing debate, the Mabat Gate or the Mabat scandal. Recently, the UK imposed sanctions under the Global Anti-Corruption Sanctions Regulations 2021 Act that have targeted or that have sanctioned Goreti Kitutu, that is one, Agnes Nandutu, and then of course the big fish here is Anita Among. And I think that people, of course, people are reacting and they're giving different responses. Some are saying Uganda is a sovereign state, so how can the EU interfere in our affairs? But I think they really need to understand what the global anti-corruption sanctions are really about. First of all, the UK is a development partner, ladies and gentlemen. They pay a lot. I mean, they give a lot of money in terms of development aid. So by virtue of that, they have a say in our development issues. They have a say in our governance issues, and the corruption is one of our problems. So clearly, he who pays the piper calls the tune. So I mean, hey, there is no way they are paying, they're funding our development, so they must have a say in what is happening. But here's the thing. The global anti-corruption sanctions regulations that we enacted in 2021 stipulate that those who facilitate or profit or try to cover up serious corruption, as well as all those who make efforts to prevent authorities from carrying out investigations, or all those who try to subvert justice, will be sanctioned. So as far as we're concerned, the issue of corruption came up in Parliament, but we saw that Anita Among did not want to address this issue. If anything, she started calling people bum, shafters, she went nasty, and she thought she was above the law. But of course now things have caught up with her, and she's being investigated. And really, I think the information nowadays is that she has investments, or she has had investments in terms of having houses, having bank accounts. Her children are studying there, so things have gotten very, very, very interesting. But Museveni, of course, let me remind our EU audience that the National Resistance Movement, they use corruption is the cornerstone of their party, of the NRM party. So Museveni uses political patronage and clientelism to control his party, but he also uses that to weaken opposition, to soil their hands so that they have no moral ground to speak, to ask him or to hold him accountable. So this is really what Museveni does best. So for the speaker to be this corrupt and to be actually pillaging a lot of money from the public coffers, this is the way they operate. This is their modus operandi. So really, I want us to talk a little bit about this, and then maybe we wrap up. Comrade Weiss, what is your take on this? You've given her a mouthful, but what is your take on this one?
For me, my take to all these things that we discussed, I have discussed with my brother Robert so often. We have identified the problem. The challenges are not going to stop. We must focus on the problem, and the problem is the governance problem. is a problem that, if you see what we are going through as Uganda, to inform the world, but also inform those in government that what you're doing is wrong. I've had Robert here explaining we shall have this demonstration. And, these guys, not until they are slapped with statements and sanctions will they come out and accept that there is a challenge. When many of the corruption scandals of the speaker, and with time will be vindicated because many will come out beyond even what people are seeing. When I characterized her as a mafia, I knew what he had done under 6 months in the office of Deputy Speaker. Because in the biggest time of Jacob Olanya's tenure, she was in acting capacity. It must also be a shame that Uganda can reach to an extent to have a person with the character of Anita Among as its speaker. Now, you will fail to contextualize my statement if you want to, but looking at the character and the persona of the Honorable Anita Among, there is nowhere a person in charge of a working system, a person in love with the country, would go for a mercenary to be the third highest person in the hierarchy of the country. We gave our country to a robber in daylight. That is why her excitement, her unprecedented luxurious lifestyle has not been noticed anywhere. When she became deputy speaker, she bought a home in Tinda, she bought a home in Kololo. She is now having a home in Bukedea. She is building a home in Chigo. And this should speak that she did not have these things. She has just arrived and now rushing to acquire what she had as dreams. These are the facts. And then you have the head of state who will tell you that, no, come on, we want, as long as somebody is corrupt, like investing in Uganda, we have no problem. None of these corrupt officials is investing in Uganda. Investment is not only in infrastructure, investment is also in academia. All of them, their children are abroad, where you are men of you. And it is a shame. So the British High Commission, first of all, has helped Ugandans. One, that we are not, Anita is not being pursued over because of homosexuality bill, because this homosexuality bill itself is not for Anita Among. This was a bill of the Right Honorable Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga. And this bill of the Honorable Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga was subjected to court process by Museveni's hingemen and cohorts, the Andrew Mwendals. That is how that law was just been. In fact, on the floor of Parliament, the Prime Minister of Uganda, the then Right Honorable Mama Babazi, was against this law being passed. So it is very absurd. It is very appalling that we have a mafia speaker. She's not ashamed of doing anything. She's a pure day mafia. She will do anything to be where she is. She will do anything to take whatever she wants to take. And we must fight this as a people. And I've had a few apologies, corruption apologists, coming out boldly to make certain statements. They have said that she doesn't give a damn. Anita Among has 2 children studying in Kent, studying and living in Kent. So if you're saying that they are being sanctioned and the British were being naive by saying you are paying school fees for children, you are directly having 2 houses under your name, and then you wake up and say you don't give a damn. She doesn't give a damn because it's not her money. It is stolen money. She acquired those properties through stolen money. She's only planning on how to steal other money such that she can have other properties. But it speaks volumes of uh, the financial improprieness of our nation. Joe, you know, and Robert and my brother here, that our country does not have a governor. Bank of Uganda now for all the period of over a year and a half. Which country can run its economics, its currency, its bank interest policies without a governor Bank of Uganda? This is an institution, and this is a legal requirement. But because our country is in the hands of General Museveni, then we are supposed to condescend of all that corruption. That itself, not appointing a governor of Bank of Uganda, is corruption on this part of the head of state. But you know, a person who can steal election steals the soul of the country. A person who robs a country of an election robs the soul of that country. There is nothing they will not calculate about taking. They will steal the money, they will steal the public infrastructure property, because these are the very people who have hidden again behind the custodian board and stolen public property. They have awarded themselves chunks of land, taken government farms, because these are not originators, they are destroyers and messers.
Thank you. Thank you very much, comrade, for that submission. Yes, Robert, what is your take?
On Anita Monk, what can I add? Corruption.
Yeah.
Now, corruption. I mean, it's very inconceivable that we're sitting here debating Anita Amon, in a civilized and well organized economy or country. She would have been gone for ages. So how can you have a corrupt person setting policies? Because policies on which our country or economy runs are run through the parliament. You have someone who is corrupt. What bills are going to be passed there? The bills are already compromised even before they pass. You look at what is going on right now, the EFRIS and stuff. So I mean, we just have to soldier on. I mean, we are where we are because the country is falling apart. So whether we speak of Among many times, it is not going to change. We have to make the decision of how to make and bring back Uganda to where we want. So with that, it will need a concerted effort of all Ugandans who want a better Uganda. So let's not discuss Among. It's a disgrace even discussing her seriously. She shouldn't be even sitting there a day or two. Thanks.
Thank you. So it's down to reclaiming our country. That is really what should be done. Comrade Mogisha, what is your take?
Yeah, I thank you very much. It's laughable because though I wasn't so much into active politics, but I remember Anita Among in FDC, how he was looking, and someone can tell you couldn't say that he even owned a 50 by 100 plot of land, even in the suburbs of Kampala. But in just a space of not even 20 years, they will tell you he's one of the biggest landlords in land. And you hear the president says that I've told the IGG to check on the issues if he declared the land. What is she going to declare? And I think in declaration should be how you acquired, but not only declaring that I declared I have 2 phones. but the question should be, how did you get the two phones? And so they are trying to play tricks here, whereby the IGG will come out. She declared all of that. But the question is, how did you acquire them in the space of not more than even 10 years? How did you acquire them that you have such wealth in a space of only not even 5 years as so many, when in the last years you didn't even have a 50 by 100 plot of land within the suburbs of Kampala, later on I could say Nansana or even Wakiso. So that issue of Anita Among, some people, when you hear someone speak about that the UK or the UK doesn't have the moral authority to sanction her, I would ask a question that when you read the budget of Uganda, we have some funding whereby we ask money from the IMF, from this government. We have developing partners, you know. We have a lot of projects being funded privately by this government. You can't tell me to give you my money and you don't want me to know how my money is being used when we signed an agreement that I must, you know, look on how my money is being used. And on top of that, I would urge us in the diaspora, we should question the foreign affairs ministries to urge their embassies back home to put in supervising the projects of this government, because these embassies, if they were really focusing on, because one of the roles of embassies and consulates is to supervise the projects of their donor countries. So if they do their work, for example, if the Swedish embassy back in Uganda is doing its work to supervise, to see if the money of their country is being put to use, we shouldn't be even discussing this here. These embassies would be the ones even telling their government that, you know what, the money you're giving in is being swindled. So we should also think about that same action. And on top of that, this lady is really a cunning lady. Really a cunning lady, not in a very wise manner, but in a very stupid, foolish manner, whereby he does things as a P2 child, in a way how she speaks in parliament, gagging the members of parliament who rise up to speak about his issues. You saw how they did to Techi Kubo. You see what she did to our comrade Honorable Zake. So he is doing his things with a lot of impunity, with a lot of lies, because the UK can't come from heaven and sanction you when it doesn't know that you have properties in their countries. They do research. We are in these countries. We know how they act. That even if you own a cat, the government will know that you own a cat, because you have to take it to the veterinary. You will have to register it. So they don't come from heaven and do these things. He is trying to lie to Ugandans. I don't give a damn. I don't care. I don't do this. I don't do that. But that is another issue why she shouldn't be even sitting in that office as a speaker, because a speaker who lies live on camera, you speak lies whereby the whole world knows about it, and the president comes and defends you when he knows what is right and what is wrong. It means that the whole country is a mafia state. Comrade Waisha spoke about the Governor Bank of Uganda. For sure, tell me a country which doesn't have a Governor Bank of Uganda, doesn't have an Inspector General of Police, doesn't have all the vital organs of government are being held in captivity, and you say that this country is moving in the right direction. And when we are really going into the election season of 2026, that means 2025 will be a year of campaigns, and we don't have someone to regulate the finances of the country. That's why we are hearing a lot of crises, a lot of taxes, because no one is regulating. Someone will tell you the governor is not the one that runs the finances, but he is the head. He chairs meetings, So if you don't have the chair of the meeting, how would you effect the resolutions of the meetings? So there is a lot of questions to be put on table, because You see, right now she was saying some bloggers are being paid by the previous speaker Kadaga to fight me after she says homosexuality. He brought the one of Kadaga right now after the UAE also sanctioned her because she couldn't use the same kind of homosexuality with the UAE because UAE is an Islamic state. So he has brought now Kadaga into the play. You know, he is just trying to hold on to grasses, but she should know that these people use you and dump you. Let her go and question the Anderson rollers and the foreign ministers of previous who have been serving previously, how they have been used and dumped. And I think he's going into the same way. But our call should be more of not allowing dictatorship government staying for more years in the country, because we are losing each day that goes. We are losing. And on top of that, you will allow me tip this a little bit. You had the appointments of the DRDCs. These are machineries being hired to fight the National Unity Platform. They are not, there is no any other role that they are being enrolled for. Because recently, today I was watching and they were saying some of our registrars who are registering our members are being, hindered by these DRDCs. Now their role is fighting NUP instead of doing the government role. So the whole country is like a comic book which needs to be put to order. I yield back to you, Comrade Joe.
Thank you very much, comrade. The question of corruption remains very concerning, and we want the European Union audience citizens to know that actually dictator Museveni is being very disingenuous when he speaks about stopping when he stops about stopping corruption. We know that he's just playing to the gallery. This man has absolutely no political will to stop corruption. Just the last time he visited Amon in Bukedia, he was defending her. We see that when IGG wanted to institute a lifestyle audit, he stopped her, saying there will be capital flight from the country. So we do not expect him to fight corruption. We do not expect him because he thrives. The NRM party thrives on corruption. He himself thrives on corruption. So his whole survival is revolves around corruption. So there is no way he's going to stop it. What we are calling for is Amon to resign. I really think that is where the discussion should be shifting. Amon should resign. She's absolutely not fit for purpose. She has been found culpable, and pending investigation, she should step aside. If she does not resign willfully, she must be forced. So that pretty much brings us to the end of our program, ladies and gentlemen. So but before we wrap up, Robert, so you raised your hand. Please come in. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to throw some light on what Mugisha said about the role of the embassies to how they should audit the projects they do in Uganda. They're really challenges. They're really paralyzed. Yeah. What happens is that Museveni has been in power for quite some time. So what has happened is that he's infiltrated and has captured most of the institutions. The institutions that you would think they're non-governmental organizations that are being infiltrated. A good example is the human rights things. So these guys, the foreign development partners, they give us aid in good faith, and they feel that the people running these projects are going to run them in good faith because they feel they want to empower. They don't want to feel pretty much policing some of these projects. They think the people who are there, especially in the NGOs, that they are really going to do the work for these underprivileged people in our society. But guess what? Most of these organizations, what the development partners seem to be more grassroots. They've been so infiltrated that the little funds that really end up there still get to be swindled. That's how the entire institutions have been captured. Even the NGOs, the the institution, you will think they will do stuff for the people on the grassroots, have been really run down, captured. Yeah, that's Musevenism for you. It is ingrained. So we have a plague or an epidemic which we really need to really wash away, and it will, like I said before, it will require a lot of commitment by every woman and man in Uganda to wash away this epidemic. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, we've really come to a close, and I would like now to wrap up, beginning with Comrade Mugisha. Please give us your closing remarks. Thank you.
Yeah, I thank you very much and for the opportunity. First of all, I would love to call upon all the members in the EU to adhere to our chairman's call and be there in numbers to show our dissatisfactory mode of how the issues of Masaba and other abducted members of the National Unity Platform is being handled. I would love to call upon the members back in Uganda to register and be fully registered members of the National Unity Platform. And I would love also to ask our Comrade White Mfumbiro and Comrade Chitunzi to see that we make a group of our members in diaspora can also be fully registered and also receive the membership cards, because this adds up to the tally of the struggle. And you would allow me pass this hilarious comment. I saw the enumerators, there's the counting in Uganda, census, but I saw they were saying we have so far counted 2-point-something million members, and the NRM people said they got over 15 million to 20 million people in just 3 days. And this was a selective register of NRM. How possible that the NRM registered 15 million supporters, whereby UBOS, which had even gadgets, and it's not selective, it is for every person in the country, only registered 2 million in the same day. Shows that something is not. I would love to say thank you, Comrade Joe, for always giving in. I would love to thank JB Mwonge, Olujuliro, and all members from the Middle East Committee, Pombo, Patricia Mugisha, my good friend. We are in as I hope 2026 drawing near. You've seen a lot of new political parties. Some of our previous.
Some disturbance. I wonder where it's coming from. I don't know if it's from Comrade Alex's end.
I'm not sure.
Do you hear the sound? Okay, carry on, please.
So,
yeah, it's coming from my side. I was trying to work on it around here.
All right.
As I was 2026 drawing near, and you've had a lot of new political parties being registered. Allegedly, some they are, said to be from our previous members who are trying to fight us from within with the support of the junta. But we should remain strong. We should iron up our gears, because the war is on. It's just going to be hyped up. A lot of abductions are going to happen as we draw near to the elections. A lot of disappearance, forced disappearance, a lot of things are going to happen. So we should collect our manpower to dismantle all this. As the vice chairperson of NUP Europe chapter, I say thank you very much to all people out there supporting the struggle, supporting the National Unity Platform. Let's go and register to be full members of the National Unity Platform. And as I said, Comrade Waiswa, you weren't around. We in the diaspora, we also want to work closely with our political command center back home to see that the members in diaspora also get fully registered as members of our political party. We don't know how we can work out with this, but something should be done so that our members in diaspora also start to be registered and become full members with IDs of the party. I thank you very much, and I yield back to you, Comrade Joe.
Thank you, Comrade Mugisha. Comrade Alex Weiser, please give us your closing remarks. Thank you.
I first of all want to thank you very much. You see the challenges of the internet. So somebody is telling you that to be able to do business, you must have an IFRS system. But even enabling us have such a conversation, I needed to make my way Pololo, where I would be sure that I will not fail. And this speaks largely to where we are as a nation. The internet should be now is the fastest moving infrastructure in the world. But today it makes work easy. You do not have, I did not need to travel to Europe for us to have this public conversation. But then even this happening is a problem. That speaks to why platforms like Facebook, other platforms are not operational, simply because we are led by a group of outdated and intendingly people who don't want to learn and co-opt to the running times. I want to thank you, Comrade Joe, Comrade Robert. I have met physically, and then my brother, the deputy, for your continued commitment to whatever we are chasing against. It is a reality. Sometimes you are fatigued and say, oh gosh, is this going to end? Some of you are putting in the time, putting in the resources, but you are steadfast. You're still committed to having a liberated Uganda. For even those who have decided to sleep and forget about their country, to see that there are other people like you out there who are doing it day and night, organizing these programs. For the masqueraders, they think these programs are a joke. They will rubbish them to derail us. They will take them away. But then these are the very platforms where our messages are moving faster and to the world, and we are being heard. That is why I say there. You remember that the arrest would be done without even a police officer hiding his face. Today, as they are carrying out these illegal arrests, they also hide under masks. They switch, they take off their tags because the people are speaking against these atrocities. I want to thank you. I want to thank our social platforms. Comrade JB Monge lost a mother. I really stand with you, my brother. And all of us who have gone through tragic moments, I stand with you, and those who have had the opportunity to smile in these very not easy times. I congratulate you to your smile, but I want to personally thank you, comrades, for the resistance, for the commitment, and part of the arrest that happened is to stop you also from coming and set foot on ground here, because if you've heard they have arrested, they have abducted Masaba, then Robert may fear to catch the next plane. But these people should not stop us from doing what is right. They should not chase us away from our country. It should remain our right, because that is what they want. We should remain persuasive, but very assertive to what we stand for. I want to thank you very much. However, Comrade Joe, Earlier today, I saw a tweet, and I pray you accept me use this platform to make some vomits. I saw a tweet of a lady called Yulian Namviru. She was questioning something, so I followed up. And then my brother Robert also sent me a follow-up WhatsApp on the same about um, my show on Pal FM that was misinterpreted. I was misrepresented. Most of you follow that talk show. I did not say the words that they have written. You know, they are circulating a post without a video. The post they are circulating has originated from Ntebe posts. Ntebe posts are known anti um, they are known anti-NUP, they are known anti-Waiswa. So it was expected from them, first of all, not to listen to me, but choose to misinterpret what I said. So to Julian, I want to tell you that regime propagandists are deliberately representing my words. In fact, not Julian, to the entire world. Regime propagandists are deliberately misrepresenting my words to drive their own evil agenda, but we are watching. At no time did I say this. I only say that every institution, including cultural institutions, can diminish if they do not stand on the side of the people. I went on to give examples from history. I was restating our clarion call for respected institutions always stand on the side of the people and to represent their struggles and pain. Everyone knows my personal and collective commitment and our own commitment as NUP to our cultural institutions, including Owaka Waka Wabugana and Owacha Bazinga Wabusoga. In fact, one of our core governance issues is to ensure that cultural institutions are empowered and not humiliated, like General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has done. Please treat the propaganda that is being circulated by the regime apologists with the contempt it deserves. I explained that cultural institutions are very powerful institutions, but sometimes they are used in dictatorship times, and this pushes them far from the people. I can tell you without contradiction, Joe, with the love of whatever we love, all of us as Ugandans are now on a test, and the test is to work together and liberate our nation. Anybody who goes against the power of the people in liberating themselves from the slavery, from this captivity, from this human degradation, trust my word. Trust my word. It will be very hard for them to remain afloat because the people have a lot of hope in leaders who have no strings attached to elections in delivering them what is right, be it culture, be it religious, be it political. We must all answer the clarion call of rising up as a nation and liberating ourselves from this madness. Those of you who want to misinterpret my words, those of you who want to run away from the truth that I'm saying, I can guarantee when that time comes, you will remind me and remind others that I said these words. And I can tell you, just like we have been speaking about Anita Among, everybody thought we are mad. At a certain point, I was hosted by Kungu and the army spokesperson, and I described Anita as a mafia. It took us over 10 minutes settling that. But today, Anita has been undressed, and everybody is seeing a mafia, not only in the making, but in character. I want to thank you for this platform. I want to thank you for this evening. Aluta continua, and I want to send our regards to the people of Europe. It's a long time I haven't been there, but I want to send our regards, and I want to send you regards from the Secretariat. My brother here said that you want to work with us. We are very available in the different departments. I know that the Secretariat in the registration process, I will be advised to reach out. I know they are part of this show now, and I will also have a discussion with them so that they reach out to you, the leadership, and inculcate this process in all our members across the globe. I thank you very much, and God bless you. People power, our power, NUP everywhere for God and my country.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Comrade Waiswa. Yes, this is a platform where we interface with the EU. So leadership, you're welcome to come and give your views and speak to the European audience. This is the place where things happen. Yes, finally, Comrade Robert Chitunze, please give us your closing remarks. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe, for today's program. Yes, I'll start off with Mogisha's point about getting membership cards from the Secretariat. It's work in progress. I've been in contact, and we'll be getting the cards for our region here in the EU. So I was having a chat with our liaison, Marvin. So it's going to be sorted soon. Yeah. Moving forward, today was a special edition for Masaba. And let's make it a very special edition for Masaba on Friday, the 17th of May, during lunch hours between 12 and 2 Central European time. We'll be on the streets. We'll be trying to make it very colorful. We'll try to make as much noise as we should, and we should really do him good. So I call upon everyone in the EU region, in wherever we have chapters, Sweden, where I'm based at, come and show solidarity not only to Masaba, but to all brothers and sisters who are incarcerated, who have been missing, who are still under imprisonment, some of which we don't know their whereabouts. So you're welcome. If you can't make it, I just put our Twitter account in the comment section there. We encourage you to post. Yeah. Probably at some point we will need to do a crash program on how we treat, but it's very straightforward. Just post Masaba, free Masaba on any platform, not our platform only. But the people who really needs to get this message. Museveni has a Twitter account. Janet Museveni has a Twitter account. And then the institutions which are back home, all these embassies in Uganda have Twitter accounts. Bombard them with free Masaba. Yeah. Any institution which is on our ground needs to get this message. Yeah. So if you can't make it on site on some of the places where we're demonstrating, you can't demonstrate online. Post or tweet to every institution, international or otherwise, in Uganda about this case. It's just one enter button on the way. So that's all we can ask of you. That's the only thing Masaba would ask of you. Be in solidarity with him. So thanks again for listening to us, and follow us, and let's get on business on Friday the 17th of May in Europe, in the cities where we have chapters. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Comrade Robert, and thank you, comrades, panelists. Yes, we've drawn to a close, and we're very, very delighted to have had this discussion. Audience, please follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Again, in the run-up to the demonstration, which will be taking place on the 17th across Europe, We shall hold a Twitter space that is on Tuesday at 8 o'clock Uganda time, that is East African time, which will be 19 hours, 20 hours Ugandan time, or 8 hours PM, which would be an equivalent of 7 o'clock Central European time. So we are going to have a Twitter space. We invite you to join and to participate. This is again to protest the arrest, the abduction of Comrade Masaba, and many, many others, but above all to demand for his unconditional release. Masaba did not commit any crime when he spoke truth to power. When he spoke truth to dictatorship, he did not commit any crime. He merely exercised his constitutional right to freely assemble and freely speak out whatever he wants to speak. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you very much for attending. And this is a continuation of our ongoing dialogue with the EU, with our brothers and sisters down on the ground. This is your channel. Please share the channel or refer other people to this channel to listen to what we've discussed today. So thank you very much. Comrade panelists, thank you very much for attending. And here I can see Namkasa Jones, Joelia Naiga, Pam Kawan Kayaga, yes, many others, Wadada Paul, Christina Katende, Lule Kawesa. Thank you all for attending. Selma the Revolutionist, Trisha, Trisha, thank you very much for attending, and we look forward to hosting you again. Our program is held every Sunday at 2 o'clock Central European time, which is 3 o'clock Ugandan time. But follow us; you'll get all those updates. We thank the different channels that have relayed our program. In particular, JB Mwangi, we thank you. Olujulido TV, we thank you so much. Find all this, all the broadcasts. You'll find it on our Uganda Diaspora EU Broadcasting Service YouTube channel. Check it out, please, and subscribe. So we and check out also our Facebook. That is Swedish chapter. Please follow us and subscribe. We look forward to more interactions. If you have any questions, put them to us. We shall be able to get back to you. Thank you and have a nice day. We sign out. Thank you.